So we are live actually. Thank you so much, amazing speakers, for joining us today. So we have, let me introduce all the speakers. So we have Engineer Rizwan Ali. He is actually the assistant professor at Bahria University, Karachi. He also runs Business Incubation Center, Karachi, as a manager. We have Ikra Malik. She is basically from Islamabad and she runs a company as a director. Further, she will introduce herself in details. We have Samin Shah. She is also assistant professor at Ikra National University, Peshawar. And we have Dr. Said uh, Asim Shasib, who is the assistant professor at Comsets University, Islamabad. Thank you so much for joining us today and giving us your precious time. I will request you all to please introduce yourself number by number, so then we will move forward. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Umar, for giving us an opportunity to first introduce ourselves. My name is Dr. Sayyid Asim Shah. Um, I am the entrepreneurial advisor of the Student Startup Business Center at ComSets University, Islamabad. Um, I'm serving as assistant professor, and my area of interest are basically entrepreneurship and marketing. So my background is the in from the industry initially for more than 1 decade, and then I switched towards academia. So you can say that as far as the industry practices are concerned, along with the academia, so they both are my areas of interest. And thank you very much for inviting me in today's session uh, to interact with such a wonderful people. Thank you.
Okay, ji, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Engineer Sayyid Rizwanli. As Umar already told about me, that I'm associated from the Bari University from the last 8 years, and I've been here as an assistant professor and also running a business incubation center. And what is our aim? That turns your idea into a reality, into real business. That what we are working on, the mindset development for students, because if you are working with a student, it's hardness to crack that you need to change their mindset. Yes, we do have accelerated programs and we do have a professional with us as well. And thank you very much from my side.
Yeah, so, Sabine Shah and Ikra, yeah, you can go.
Okay, I think I'll go first then. This is Samin Shah. I'm assistant professor at International University with Business Administration Department in Peshawar. I'm also advisor and mentor at KPK Business Women, and I'm working as a freelance marketing and management consultant for hotels and restaurants in Peshawar. And I'm also heading Career Development Center at International University, and I'm really looking forward to the discussion today. Thank you very much.
So this is Ikra West Malik. I am a psychologist by education, and since being a student, I have been involved with various startups as a team member, incubated at various incubation centers. And this experience actually led me to develop my own business. And currently, I am director at my company, Gateway Hub Private Limited, which is basically a trading and real estate company. Apart from this, I have been speaking at various local and international platforms to the youth regarding soft skills development, entrepreneurship, career development, and motivating them to pursue more than just reading books at the university. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all of you for introducing yourself. So, to start the panel, I would like to ask the first question, that is, why it is important to set up innovative innovation incubation center to promote entrepreneurship at the university. So,
Okay, thank you
yeah.
very much, Umar. It's a very good question. And about the why it is important, innovation center, incubation center, a technology park, or a co-working space, whatever the name you just name it, because it's a need of the era. Why? Because the primary role of the any incubator innovations or any other things to nurture the companies by providing the interaction with entrepreneurs, and they are trying to build their own business by the ideas, because in the universities, every university are conducting the FYPs, the final year project. If you didn't do it, you cannot get the degree. So why don't you make your project into a product? So this is the need of the era, and as you can see, the economic condition of the Pakistan, you can say the inflammations and the prices going higher and higher. So this is the need. If you go and see back to the other nations like China and Turkey, why they have, how they change? They change because they just start working on the entrepreneurial mindset, and they start working from door to door. And now, Alhamdulillah, you can say it's more than 70% business. It's coming from the China. So this is the need, and the incubator bell, it is designed to provide a safe and a controlled space to infants or students unlikely to simple to make understanding what are the basics, what are the guidelines, because my theory is that entrepreneurship is by doing rather than by learning. Yes, you can learning, but by doing you can understand if you're in mistakes, if you have got failed, if you have rip off, somebody took your money, and these are the experiences that you get to know, okay, how I just need to do it. Or like an incubation center, it's kind of a oxygen to them and make them prepare for the future businesses. That's my side. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to add here that before maybe it was a choice that people could decide between starting their own business and or going out and joining a corporation that already exists. But I don't feel it's a choice anymore now, because the number of graduates that are coming out in the job market every year, they far exceed the number of positions available in the organizations and in the industry. So what are we doing? We're setting our kids up for failure from the moment that they graduate, and they go and they start having an idea about what are they going to do with their professional lives and their career. So we are setting up our kids for failure in the future. So by not opting for developing this entrepreneurial culture in the universities and incubation centers in the universities, we are taking away from them an opportunity to have a better life and have their own businesses and be able to create employment opportunities instead of just looking for one. So I think it's not a choice anymore for the universities where business education is being provided. It's a necessity. It is something that cannot be avoided anymore. It is something that you need to be able to provide to your kids for a better future for the entire country and for them as well. So we should stop treating it as a choice. That's what I believe at the moment.
Well, uh, as far as the ORIC or the incubation centers are concerned, usually on the campuses, the launching and the existence and the management of the incubation centers play a very vital role. To me, it is a backbone of any society, because if you take into account the global ecosystem, so there is an intense need of those who can not only provide the different opportunities for the facilitation of the society, but at the same time there should be a need basically to offer the jobs to a lot of people. So as far as the government capacity is concerned, it is not possible that for every graduate earning their degree on the campus level, and then they will start accommodating them in the government machinery. So what we need to do, we need to do to establish, develop, we need to nurture and motivate the young entrepreneurial spirit by introducing them through an incubation centers. Now, what happens in the incubation center? Actually, you provide them an opportunity. You teach them how to think like an entrepreneur, how to behave just like an entrepreneur, what are the different prospects of entrepreneurship. And definitely, if there is a talent hunt, for example, if their ideas are basically refined, and you come up with some sort of a good hunt, so not only you can nurture them, you can come up with a lot of valuable inputs to the society in form of starting small and medium enterprises, which can later on be developed to the nation, and then at the multinational level. And we are seeing the developed societies have opted this models decades ago, and you see that the prospects of their model is this, like they are having a very good small and medium enterprise setup in the way one of our respected colleagues just mentioned and quoted the example of the China. So what they did initially, they initially started in 1980, 1990 with the incubation centers, and now we see like more than 70% of the global production they have started focusing on that one manufacturing zone. So, incubation center, you see, students are usually the products that we develop them and then we provide them to the market. So, if you will nurture them through an incubator environment, so there is a probability that they may come up with a lot of um, invention or the innovation or even with the Me Too strategies, but at least they realize that yes, that as far as the variable input on behalf of that student is concerned, he should be the job offerer, not a sort of a job seeker. So in this regard, I think that incubation centers are the essential parts of academia, and as far as academia is concerned, it is beyond academia. It's not necessary for an entrepreneur to be a degree holder. There can be even the street childs who are coming up with some sort of a, like their creative ideas. So if we are talking about the different other the government level institutions, for example, there are a lot of other. For example, if we talk about the National Incubation Center or the Indus Entrepreneur Islamabad, or if we talk about the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Authorities, so they are serving as an incubation center at a state level. You see, like incubation center within a campus is something else. But you see, if it is not necessary that for an entrepreneurial approaches one must visit a university. No, there are a lot of people who are very much successful entrepreneur, but they are not the university students, and they actually nurture and polish their skills, their creativities, their idea, and the other through other platforms I just mentioned.
Thank you so much. Ikra, do you have some comments on the same question?
Yes, I'll definitely continue what Mr. Asim mentioned, and I would like to keep it short. So basically, any university around the world needs to be based on the concept of universality. When we have departments of medicine at the university, we have department of media, physics, economics, psychology, whatnot. So there needs to be a department for the entrepreneurship, for teaching and training the entrepreneurs, which is what the business incubation centers at the university actually do. Stating this, that doing business is something that is not related to only the students of BBA. Business is not a thing to learn in theory, but it is actually a thing to do in practice. And that's what a business incubation at a university provides you an opportunity for. So that is why it's so very important to have a business incubation center at every university, for the reason that, for example, there are 30 students in a class or 50 students in a department. At least there would be 5 students who would have that entrepreneurial mindset. So who is going to train them? Who is going to teach them? Who is going to take the responsibility for them? Definitely department won't do that, because that's not the job of the department to do so. There comes the responsibility of the role of the business incubation centers of the university to teach them, train them, and help them develop the skills that they actually need to become an entrepreneur. Thank you.
Let me add to the ECRA. Specifically, she's talking about some sort of entrepreneurial approaches. So yes, I totally agree with her that as far as the entrepreneurial cognition at academia level is concerned, unfortunately, like I have experienced it. Example, I'm just giving you an example. I'm teaching the entrepreneurship subject. Now, what I actually do, that initially we usually start from the idea screening. And if, for example, I'm having a class of 30 students, so every individual student must come up with an individual business idea. Now, this is my job as a mentor, as a teacher, as an entrepreneur advisor, to nurture them, to motivate them, to give them inspirations, and to train them and some sort of a big dreaming, and to build their capacity, like what is their area of interest, where they feel like much comfortable, what are their strengths basically, and what gaps they are going to fill, and they are going to basically aid what sort of a value. So if a student is the true reflection of their teacher. So if there is an entrepreneurial orientation in the personality, or in the works and the thoughts of a teacher or a mentor, definitely will be in position to produce some very good entrepreneur, will be in position to motivate them, and on behalf of the incubation center there can be a very good output in our ecosystem. But unfortunately this is not the case. How, for example, in our country, every teacher, and like if we talk about our kids, so there is no kidpreneurship, like at the nursery and at the play group level, every student is being taught at parental level that they have to be a good doctors, they will become a good engineers, or they will be a pilots. But as far as the kidpreneurship is concerned, their creative ideas are concerned, to be a successful entrepreneur, to identify the minor and the smaller level gaps roaming around us, and then thinking over them and filling those gaps and come up with some sort of products or services. Believe me, it can establish a very good entrepreneurial mindset. But unfortunately, it has not been happened in the past. Luckily, and if we take into account the current system, so uh, every university is now focusing on their incubation centers and on their entrepreneurial development centers, or the student startup business centers. So whether it is the discipline of the computer science, if it is the discipline of engineering, if it is medical sciences, like you see, this entrepreneurship is the essential core subject of every interdisciplinary specialization. So yes, as Ekra just mentioned, that for a teacher need to be a good entrepreneur initially, and this is a very important subject. The teacher should go beyond the theory. Rather, he should practice it, and he should uh, uh, share his own rich experience, or he can even outsource a series of guest speakers who are the competent authorities in their respective field of like entrepreneurship and the business world, and in this way they can develop some sort of a entrepreneurial mindset.
Um, Umar, I'd like to build upon the points presented by Ms. Malik and Dr. Shah here. And
Yeah, please, please,
I think
please.
I think the most important thing is the element of culture here, whether we're talking about entrepreneurship, as Dr. Shah said, and talking about establishment of specialized organizations like business incubation centers at the university level. But I think as long as we don't have mechanisms in place that facilitate the culture of innovativeness and entrepreneurship, that is not going to happen. For example, Dr. Shah here said that he asks his students to come up with business ideas. So that is a culture that he's trying to inculcate and bring about in the university. But the culture doesn't change. If there is no support of the management in that. So if the university top management is not interested in developing a culture of entrepreneurship, in developing a culture of innovativeness, in developing a culture of openly discussing ideas that are novel and that are non-traditional in terms of helping students start their businesses and everything, that is not going to happen. So what can we do to change this culture in our homes, the mindsets of the students and the teachers who are interacting with each other in developing such entrepreneurial mechanisms and systems. So I would like to ask the people in the universities to sort of engage with the top management and the management at the universities that they're working at, to talk about this. How can we bring about that change in the culture of the university, in the culture of the institution that we are part of? कि कैसे हो सकता है, because so many times मेरे ख्याल में ये culture ही नहीं है. We don't have the culture of having an original thought, we don't have the culture of having an original thought that is not presented before or refined before. We don't encourage people to come up with original thoughts. We like people to come come up with with the best idea of how they think about thought that already exists, but we don't essentially facilitate students in developing their own original thoughts. So how can that happen? Do we need to make it a part of our curriculum? Do we need to make it a part of our class exercises? Do we need to make it a part of our year-end projects? What can we do to, sort of kickstart this culture in our institutions? That is something that we can deliberate on and devise plans for. Thank you.
Right.
Well, Sameen probably pointed out the most relevant part, that as far as the management is concerned. Yes, true. But luckily, if we take into account the current government at a government level, the patronization of like such sort of approaches. So you see, there are, for example, if you talk about the Kamyab Jawan scheme, if we talk about the Pakistan startup cup, if we talk about the different incubation centers, so one way or the other way they are. So you see, this idea is usually being promoted and is being sold to the public. And but the most important thing where I would like to, which is my concern, and it is this, that as far as the entrepreneurial cognition at academia is concerned, unfortunately, we have failed so far. We couldn't deliver and impart it that successfully. And the reason for it is this: like, see, most of my colleagues, there is a publication I've published a paper, the entrepreneurial cognition of academia in Pakistan. Like, most of the students usually ask me, "Sir, that if you are training us on entrepreneurship and if you are having such a wonderful idea, then why you are doing your own job and why don't you start your own business?" Uh, the case is not that. So, like, I'm an entrepreneur since 2010. I'm having my own setup, and Omar, you know it very well. Like this, I'm having my own sort of a edupreneurship, and it is over there. And Alhamdulillah, most of my students are coming to my setup. We build their capacity, but see, uh, this may be one of the cases. Like, in most of the cases, there is just a theory oriented approach. There is actually not a practical approach. So if you are not a part of a business applications, if you have never been from industry, if you have never been from your customer, then how it is possible to just rely on the memorization of the entrepreneurial concepts in front of the student and to teach them about, like, the definition, and like, it's beyond that right now. As far as the ideas are concerned, you will have to make a self-assessment of every individual. You will involve them in their self-assessments. They will they will assess their strengths, their area of improvements. So what I usually do, that in our setup, we usually we conduct exercises for the students who usually make their own SWOT analysis, and they talk about their strengths, they talk about their weaknesses, then they talk about the opportunities available for them. And within the, like, this is some sort of a counseling, and identifying their need, we usually link their need with that gap, with that product, or with that service, which can be offered in an innovative way, or which can be offered in some sort of a me too strategies, but in a creative way to the society, so that the revenue model can be there, so that the, the 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 business planning concept should be there, and at least the impact in terms of generating the cash flows should be there. And you see, it usually, I have experienced a lot of students that at a graduation level, when they come across with their experience, that yes, it responds in form of a cash flows, and they can generate cash flows. So you see, no one can stop them, and we are having a lot of success stories. Like Ubaid is my student. There is a success story with the name of Dariudu. There is a name of the success story with the name of AIM Travels. There is success story with the name of this peanut butter. So at the student level, when they realize that yes, your idea is responding, it enhances their confidence level. It gives them aspiration, it gives them motivation, and then they really start thinking it in an entrepreneurial mindset. So I will conclude my talk like this, that every teacher and every academia and every system should focus on the objectivity rather than the subjectivity. Unfortunately, we are engaged in the subjectivity. So, as far as the objectivity is concerned, it usually then become far ahead of our achievements, because you have to meet some specific credit hours. So that's what I would recommend, that as far as the objectivity is concerned, it should be like more focus rather than subjectivity. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for such an awesome answer. So now my next question is that as an incubation centers manager, how you evaluate the idea of the startup? वो कौन सी चीज़ें हैं, वो कौन से फैक्टर्स हैं जो सबसे पहले आप उसमें देखते हैं? एंड आई वुड लाइक टू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम इंजीनियर रिजवान साहब.
Okay, Ji, thank you very much for giving me the chance. And the factors is that your approach. That's what my personal experience is, the approach. Because the many of the students, they came to the incubation centers for the charm, to get well-known, famous, to get more money. That's not specifically, but most of the startups, they are running after the three things, right? So as far as our incubation center or myself, we just need to see the approach. The first thing, are they creating, or are they creating, or are they solving a problem in the society? Specifically, the first thing is that, and the second thing, are they willing to give something? Because in entrepreneurship, they ask you your time, your money, your efforts, and maybe end of the day it got filled, because it's naturally out of 100 to 5 or 6 startup was successful, but the remaining the 95 or a 94, it doesn't mean that they are failed. They are on a learning stage. This is their experience. They start something else, because every entrepreneur have many failures into their life, and after some stage, once they realize that according not their mistakes, according to their past learnings, they say, okay, this is the time we have to start. So the approach, the first thing is very important. As far as we are looking for the approach, that what intent they are coming into the business incubation centers. If they are after the three, okay, fair enough, but they will not be here more than 1 or 2 or maximum 6. They will go on, they will manage. That's why you can see so many startups come up. Maybe they got funded, maybe they got win the idea, but after 4, 5, 1 year, maybe 2 years, they just gone. Okay, this is the first thing. And the second thing is that your team in the Pakistan, what we think, I can do everything, or if you have a 2-3 members, once you have just a penny, I'm just giving an example, एक रुपया भी कमा लो, just an example. So everybody think that, oh, this is my effort. Look at that night, भाई तो मैंने जाके काम किया. Oh, तुम क्या कर रहे थे? मैंने तो देखो इतनी marketing कर दी. ये so we don't have a structure to work environment in the teamwork. You know what I mean to say कि भाई लोग टीम में वो एक को पैसा मिल जाए तो वो चारों में लड़ाई हो जाती हैं. बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप ऐसे खत्म होते हुए देखें. मैं अप्रोच की बात कर रहा हूँ कि when you are going to incubate या जो आ रहे हैं, we need to give in training that you have to be practical. Number 2, whatever that you are going is for a cause. I know that in entrepreneurship money is involved, लेकिन कोई cause हो पीछे, क्या सहूलत लेके आ रहे हो, what opportunities, what the easiness, what comfort that you are providing to others, कि किस मसले का हल लेके आ रहे हो जो तुमने देखा हो. And what I have said, जो अप्रोच की हम बात कर रहे हैं, कि ये मेरा अपना एक वर्ड है जो मैं स्टूडेंट्स को या स्टार्टअप्स को बोलता हूँ कि घर से निकलने तक, फ्रॉम योर होम to your university, to your office, to your workspace, wherever you go, whatever you have seen and the problems, what you find out, you need to find the solutions. ये है स्टार्टअप. लोग पूछते हैं हम क्या करें, हमें समझ में नहीं आ रहा. भाई देखो जो मसले मसाले नजर आ रहे, जितने स्टार्टअप बने, चाहे वो सेहत कहानी हो गई, डॉक्टर इफ़त हो गई, अहमद अयूब आपकी एयरलिफ्ट हो गई, आपका मुनीर माहिर बाइकिया हो गया, ये जितने बने और जो इनको फंडिंग मिली, ठीक है, ऑल ऑफ देम दे आर फ्रॉम अब्रॉड नॉट इन द पाकिस्तान, लेकिन वो मसलों का हल निकाला ना उन्होंने. So this is the approach from my side. We need to work. The first thing, that what is the cost, number one. Second thing, the teamwork होना चाहिए. And number three, you have to be a shock observer, जिसको मैं shock observer कहता हूँ. यानी कि आपको हार, फेलियर, नुकसान, धोखा, माशाल्लाह हमारे बेहतरीन लोग हैं, स्टार्टअप में धोखा दे जाते हैं, आप किसी से डीलिंग कर दी वो धोखा दे जाते हैं. देयर आर सो मेनी फैक्टर्स, राइट? So you have to be a shock, जैसे मैं बना के दिखा रहा हूँ, shock observer that you need to absorb. Then you will become, और incubation उनको बना सकते हैं. लेकिन बड़ा एक यहाँ फैक्टर है, incubation centers and जो आपके co-working space है, लोग इसको फर्क ही नहीं समझते. भाई incubation center is something else from the hatchery that they will giving the pathway. इस जो आपका एक्सेलरेटर प्रोग्राम होता है या co-working space, वो तो लोग चलते हुए बिजनेस के साथ आ रहे होते हैं फॉर अ स्केल अप. तो यहाँ हमारे यहाँ ये भी बड़ा कॉन्सेप्ट है कि वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज एन इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर, व्हाट इज एन एक्सेलरेटर प्रोग्राम एंड व्हाट इज अ कोवर्किंग स्पेस, कि जिसमें सिर्फ आपने रेंट देना होता है एंड दैट्स इट. उनको कोई परवाह नहीं होती, 7 से लेके 24/7 आपको जगह दे दी, वो लाइट पंखा बिजली अपना लेकर वहाँ बैठे हुए काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उसको भी हम इंक्यूबेशन कह देते हैं. सो वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर अप्रोच की बात कर रहा हूँ उसी में ही, about your accelerator program और आपका co-working space. Thank you.
Okay. जी
No, anyone can go. If
Okay,
you have some comments.
what actually I do with my students, like what I recommend them, like the way just Rizwan mentioned, that they should rely on their observational research. Like whenever they should start from their social circles, from their families, from their friends. You see, these are some of the major sources of idea generation. And if they simply start observing a very minor level problem, small level problem, and if they will start thinking about the solutions of those problem, maybe they can come up with some very good entrepreneurial ideas. But what actually I personally do, I personally usually start, as I mentioned in the previous answering to your previous question. Let's see, the self-assessment exercise is very much important. You see, like if we 4-5 people are over here, so every individual has got his own strengths, his own area of interest. Rizwan must be feeling good enough, and he must be comfortable in his own area of interest. Umar must be having his own set of priorities. Samin is here, and she will be much comfortable in his own area of interest, and in the same way Ikra will be doing. Now, what is actually thing? There is attitude, the attitude of every student. So what actually I do, I involve them in a very, like you see, interesting manner. Now, what is very much common in our country, that we are very much well aware of our neighborhood, that what's going on in our left and right and among our neighbors, who is coming and who is visiting their homes, and who is leaving their homes, what sort of purchases they are making. But as far as you see, whenever we come across with the electricity or the load shedding, we usually, this is a habit that we usually send our kids or our juniors कि जाओ और चेक करो कि पड़ोस में बिजली है कि नहीं है जी, ओ चलो फिर आराम हो गए, चलो उधर नहीं है तो इधर भी नहीं है. But as far as our self-assessment is concerned, we are very poor in that. हमने कभी ख्याल किया ही नहीं है. So the self-assessment usually means, who am I, why am I, and where can be I, like what are my strengths, and then bridging or relating these strengths to the existing or the available opportunities, the way Rizwan just pointed out, in their social circles. Like one student may be good enough in a write-up, and another must be good enough in like in their presentation skills. So what one may come up with a very good content, quality content, The other may present that in a very elaborative manner. So, so what I recommend that when they, after conducting their self-assessment exercises, and then based on the observational research, based on some sort of the research the gives recommended by the future researchers, as far as the literature is concerned, there can be some sort of incidental or accidental entrepreneurs, like Umar is experiencing one of the business idea with us right now, and that is a miracle of, it cannot be a miracle, but this is, you can say, this is an opportunity of the COVID-19. That as far as the major threat of this COVID-19 is concerned, we have taken it as an opportunity. So the capacity building programs, the online certifications, and the things like this, and the freelancing, and focusing, and like on today's session, you see, all these are the entrepreneurial approaches. So after their idea brainstorming sessions, they are provided the mentorship on our behalf. Then we motivate them. They go back. They usually search the literature and what has been done so far on the existing their ideas globally. Where their idea, we start usually from our campus, our own campus. That our target market is our own campus. Then we go to that major city. For example, if we are in Islamabad, so we will start from the premises of our own campus, and our target market and target audience is our own campus. And then after that, we will target the major city of Islamabad, and then we'll talk about the federal. Then we'll go towards the north zone. Then we will talk about the south zone. Then about the central zone, and then we may set or and declare our goals and objective at the national level. So at every stage, there are a lot of learning opportunities, a lot of area of improvements. At a campus level, the prototyping provides us a lot of areas to be improved. At a city level, usually जो फीडबैक मिलता है उस फीडबैक से हमें पता चले कि still we have to improve a lot. So through such sort of a calculated movement, one can establish, like if you take the example of the Daryudu is just in major city of Peshawar, where the food panda is like it is impossible for food panda even to track those routes which the review has explored in 2013. You see, so penetrating in the market and rather later on developing the market, the markets, these are usually declared their growth strategies. Usually what I do, I start from the lean canvassing instead of going for a big business plan write up, which is a tedious job. Initially we start from the lean canvassing, and then usually I take them towards the Griffin business model. And in the Griffin business model, if they know about their product, if they are having a good product knowledge, if they are having a good market knowledge, if they are having a good customer knowledge, if they can really differentiate their product or services as compared to the competitors, if their revenue model is good enough, if they have got all those capabilities to develop an entrepreneurial team who can equally contribute. And then there are some other beyond these qualities. If there is a sense of ownership, if there is a can-do approach, and if there is some sort of a situation where someone is actually aspired by his goal and his vision. So yes, out of every 30-40 students, usually within a semester, we come up usually with the 2 or 3 very good entrepreneurial ideas, and alhamdulillah they qualify, they earn grants, and they then become the role models for the rest of the other students, and they usually then become a source of our proud. We usually quote them during our lectures or during our talk shows. So this is our methodology, how we usually we finalize their idea, and how we train them.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think as Dr. Shah also said, more than anything else, I think entrepreneurship is about having the right attitude, and the right attitude can be taught, can be trained, and and university provides that perfect platform for teachers and student, because of this teacher and student interaction, where such attitudes can be nourished and nurtured. Usually, I think the most the most common issue that students face when it comes to being a part of such entrepreneurial activities is that they lack the inspiration, they lack the motivation behind going and trying to find such ideas that can help them build a business from scratch. But in order to facilitate that, in order to start that spark with the students where they can explore different ideas, we have in our department we have come up with various activities. For example, there's this activity that I call desicize a particular product. For example, take a product from a foreign market and bring a different element into it, or reduce a different element from it, to make it more appropriate for the desi markets, South Asian markets. And sometimes we tell them to think of a futuristic product that cannot exist yet because of the lack of technology, but that may exist in the future. And they take inspiration from science fiction movies and science fiction novel, and they come up with different ideas that can be possible in the future. So this is what we get the creativity juices flowing. We get the process started, and ultimately they do come up with ideas that are practical and that are viable for the for our market today. उसमें बहुत सारे students, I tell them to conduct, because that universities are conducting research as well. बहुत ज़्यादा final year projects जो हैं, they are research oriented. But how can we use that research to come up with different ideas for the entrepreneurs in the universities, is if we ask them to conduct action researches. Action researches are researches where you pinpoint a problem in the industry and you try to conduct a research to find out the solution of that particular problem for the industry. And from the same solution, you can inspire many entrepreneurs in the universities to come up with different ideas that can be useful and practical for the markets and the industry both. So that is one proposal that I have in pipeline for my own university as well, that we conduct research that can generate ideas, and we use the same ideas to sort of engage our students in entrepreneurial activities, and somehow make them interested in what they do may help different industries and people as well. So that's, I think, is the right direction in terms of developing positive attitude towards entrepreneurship and innovation.
Same question for Ikra.
I really liked what Mr. Rizwan Ali mentioned, that unfortunately we don't even know the difference between an incubation center, accelerator programs, and a co-working space. So yes, as the name indicates, incubation. What is incubation? Incubation is something when you have provided the right conditions to a particular thing in which that particular thing can develop and grow. So this is what the role of an incubation center should be in actuality. And the incubation center itself needs to know what they are there for. But unfortunately, we do not have that mindset. And unfortunately, we don't have people like Sayyid Rizwan Ali sitting in various incubation centers. And people who are there, unfortunately, they don't themselves know what are they there for. So they are there, just running an incubation center, just like a co-working space. Students come in, sit, have tea, have some fun, and then leave in the evening. And they think that they are running a startup. And after that, they are somehow trained to, present it and pitch their ideas to the investors. And when they're pitching their ideas to the investors, maybe, if the idea is selected or something, they're given the fundings. And when they're giving the fundings, they don't know how to manage their money. They have no idea where they are supposed to spend their money. They have the funding and everything. And I have literally seen some startups who have like received fundings for 10 million rupees, sorry, a million rupees or a 2 million rupees. But at the end of a year or 2 years, they're left with nothing. And when we ask them what have they done with their money, they don't even know where did the money go. So there are so many things that we need to learn and teach as well. So before teaching, definitely we need to learn it ourselves, so that we can create the right approach. As Mr. Rizwan Ali mentioned, that approach is the major thing, which is essential for any incubation center to run successfully, and also for any startup to develop in a successful manner. Thank you.
Adding to the ECRA, I'll just share one of my experience over here. Then, having been the part of the different jury sessions, uh, I met a couple in Pakistan Startup Cup, and I told them, "What are you doing over here? Because you have already qualified for the previous grant as far as your garbage collection is concerned, and you almost earned 3 million grant for that, and now this is your another idea. You are coming up with another." So he surprisingly told me, "Sir, that this is actually your business, that we are coming for and contesting in every startup cup, and usually um, earning the grants. Actually, this is our major objective. So we are professional. We provide. So yes, they usually don't know that after earning those grants, what should be the proper utilization of the grants. Like they don't know. So I have experienced some of the people that they are true entrepreneur. They have actually taken this as an entrepreneurial idea. Why not to come up with some sort of a good lean and to qualify to earn and to do nothing else as far as the utilization of the funds are concerned. It is secondary, it is later on. But first, let's start grabbing on all those available funds and the maximum we can earn the grants. So yes, this is another dilemma that is actually in practice, very in rare cases, but yes, it is. This is a fact.
Thank you so much. So my next question is regarding the virtual incubation centers. What is the future of virtual incubation centers? As you know, due to COVID-19, it changed everything. Every landscape of any ecosystem and anything. So what is the future of virtual incubation centers?
Okay, well, because I'm at the moment running a Welcome Incubation Center from the last 4 or 5 months, this it is a very bright future because we are running it and we have incubators all over all provinces of Pakistan with the different startups. Some of them tech, some of them they are the pure business, some of them they are the food ones in Balochistan, KPK, and Punjab, like Islamabad, Lahore, and different areas, cities. So, what we have to do, if you are running, this is my suggestions. Maybe anyone can have a different sort of mindset or thought. The virtual incubation is a very good platform, but you need to monitor and you need to engage those incubators in the different sort of activities, as I'm showing with my fingers. Like once we have this, so what we did, we just arranged the training of sessions. So we have arranged some of the training sessions from the outside, from the USA, and after that, we have a session with I think more than a month from the Shell Tamir, which is a Shell live wire program running in the 21 countries, and they will get a certificate for the entrepreneurial activities, and the same certificates will be valid for the 21 countries. And after that, we have engaged in a different way of platforms to increase your entrepreneurial skills because it's a skill set, and every different startup has a different skill set and every different background that you are coming from according to your demographics. It subject has to change. That's what my belief is. So we are engaging them and we are training them, we are giving them opportunities. Yes, in the last everybody is after for the fund, वो भी हम उनके लिए हैं, हमने कुछ लिए हैं क्योंकि अभी रिसेंटली स्टार्ट हुआ है पाकिस्तान नेशनल फर्स्ट इन्वेस्टर पोर्टल। ठीक है, उन्होंने 5 करोड़ का ऐलान किया, हमने कहा जी अप्लाई कर दो। यूएस समेटा आया, उसे 3 करोड़ 80 लाख दिए, हमने कहा ठीक है जी अप्लाई कर दो। So we are also providing the opportunities to scale up or to stand up, but the meanwhile we are training. So ये एक future है क्योंकि we don't know, because still you can see the statement they say might be this pandemic will be further appear long after 2022 or maybe 2023. So what happened? We have cannot stay at home. We have to do it something. So this is the time, as we have already started, alhamdulillah, few months back, and we are running and we are all again monetizing اگین اٹس این ایشو. اب ٹھیک ہے وہ جو بیٹھا ہے ہمارا کاران میں انضمام, اس کا فوڈ وین کے نام سے اسٹارٹ اپ ہے, ٹھیک ہے وہ بیچارہ بعض اوقات کنیکٹ ہی نہیں ہو پاتا ہم سے. سر وہ میرے پاس تو جی انٹرنیٹ کے وہاں ایشو ہیں, میں کاران میں ہوں بلوچستان میں. اچھا جی کوئی بات نہیں, ٹھیک ہے. سو دیز آر دا ایشوز. یہ بھی ایک ایشوز ہیں کہ وہ کنیکٹیوٹی ان کی ہو رہی ہے لیکن اس میں بھی ان کے ایشوز آ رہے ہیں. سیشن چل رہا ہے وہ ڈسکنیکٹ ہو گئے, سر میں کیا کروں, اب میں اس علاقے میں ہوں. اچھا جی ٹھیک ہے جی کوئی بات نہیں, مان لیا. تو دس از ہیپننگ, بٹ یہ ایک فیوچر ہے, اس کو ہمیں اڈاپٹ کرنا پڑے گا جو بھی انکیوبیٹرز ابھی ہیں, کیونکہ ان فیوچر اگر یہ لاک ڈاؤن سلسلہ چلتا رہا تو فزیکل جب لوگ آئیں گے نہیں تو کریں گے کیا. اب ہماری وہ یونیورسٹیز تو ہے نہیں, بیکاز 6 months بیک آئی ہیڈ این انٹرویو. میں یہاں اس لیے بتا رہا ہوں کہ ان کا جو میں نے پروگرام سنا میں خوش ہو گیا کہ یہ یونیورسٹیز کر رہی ہیں وہاں پر. سو دا ٹیکساس یونیورسٹی فار وومن ان یو ایس اے, جو ان کی ڈائریکٹر تھی مس ٹریسی, جو کہ ان کا وومن انٹرپرینیورشپ سینٹر ہے, جب ہم نے ان سے بات کی اسی طرح اسٹریم یارڈ کے ایک سیشن پہ کہ آپ کیا کریں, تو انہوں نے کہا مور دین 500 اسٹارٹ اپس کو ہم نے زندہ رہنے کے لیے, اب میں ایگزیکٹ بلینز بھول رہا ہوں, 5 بلین 10 بلین, ایگزیکٹلی مجھے یاد نہیں فگر, انہوں نے وہ ہمیں فگر دی کہ یہ ہمارا یونیورسٹی کا فنڈ ہے اینڈ وی آر پرووائڈنگ دیم ٹو جسٹ لیو, کہ وہ زندہ رہ سکے ورنہ وہ مر نہ جائیں, ان کے اسٹارٹ اپ ختم نہ ہو جائیں. تو یونیورسٹی نے انہوں نے کہا ہم نے جو ہے اوپن کال دی, اور اس اوپن کال میں ہمارے پاس مور دین 5000 اسٹارٹ اپس, کہیں اور سے نہیں, جو ٹیکساس اسی ڈیولس اور وہ جو ریڈیس کے اراؤنڈ جو آس پاس کے جو مختلف ان کی جگہیں تھیں وہیں سے ہی لوگ ان کے پاس آئے, ان کی اسٹیٹ سے 5000 نے اپلائی کیا, جس میں سے انہوں نے کہا ہم نے 500 کو فنڈ کیا تاکہ وہ اگر کچھ نہ بھی کریں تو وہ زندہ رہ سکیں. تو دیز آر دا یونیورسٹیز, دے آر, ٹھیک ہے ہماری یونیورسٹی کا اتنے فنڈ نہیں ہوتے کہ وہ اپنے ٹیچرس کو ہی دے دیں بنے. تو بہر کہنے کا مقصد یہ ہے کہ ورچوئل انکیوبیشن سینٹر از فیوچر. اگر ہمارے پاس یہی سچویشن رہتی ہے, اگر نہیں بھی رہتی یو کین کنیکٹ, ٹھیک ہے اس وقت ہم پورے پاکستان سے میں اس پر کنیکٹڈ بیٹھا ہوں, کیوں, کیونکہ لوگ ہمارے پاس آئے, ورچوئل انکیوبیشن دیا ہم نے, ٹھیک ہے ان کو ٹریننگز دے رہے ہیں, ہم مینٹور کر رہے ہیں جو ہم کر سکتے ہیں, بٹ اسٹل دیر از اے گیپ. جو میں نے آپ کو بتایا کہ ٹھیک ہے وہ ٹریننگ میں اب لگا کے بھاگ گیا, اب ٹھیک ہے میں نہیں پتا وہ بیٹا تو ہے دیکھنے کے لیے, وہ سو رہا ہے جاگ رہا ہے, دس از یہ اس کا دین اور یہ اس کا ایمان. ہم یہی کہتے ہیں کہ بیٹا یہ آپ کا دین آپ کا ایمان ہے, وی آر ہیئر ٹو فیسیلیٹیٹ یو, وی آر ہیئر ٹو پرووائڈ یو اپرچونیٹی, جس میں نے آپ کو بتایا کہ ٹریننگز بہت ضروری ہیں, یہ ہمارے لیے بھی ضروری ہے. مجھے کوئی ٹریننگ ابھی آپ میں سے کوئی دینا شروع کر دے میں اس میں بیٹھ جاؤں گا, کیونکہ یہ سیلف ڈیولپمنٹ ہے, لرننگ ہے, پھر اس کے بعد ری لرننگ ہے, پھر فیلیئرز ہے. یہ انسان کی نیچر اور زندگی کا بھی ساتھ یہی ہے کہ بھائی کبھی ہارتا ہے کبھی جیتتا ہے, لیکن ہم نے اس کو ان کو بولا ہے کہ بھائی ہار کا ورڈ کاٹ دو, ہار کا یہ میں دکھا بھی رہا ہوں. Replace your heart with your learning. Either you will be successful or you are on the drawing state, means you are on the learning state. بھائی یا تو سیکھنے والے ہوگے یا جیتنے والے ہوگے, باقی کچھ نہیں ہے. تھینک یو.
Ji, thank you so much. So, any comments on the same question, Ma'am Sameem or Ma'am Ikra? You are mute, Sameem ma'am.
Yes, I do believe that virtual everything is the future, kyunki COVID-19 has sort of taught us کہ اس کے بغیر اور کوئی چارہ نہیں ہے. اینڈ آئی تھنک ایون اف دیر از نو پینڈیمک اینی مور, اینڈ ایون اف آئی تھنک ہم لوگوں نے یہ لرن کیا ہے کہ جب ہم آن لائن کسی بھی چیز کو لے کے جاتے ہیں, whether there are classes or whether there are training programs or whether there are incubation centers, it sort of adds a very much needed dimension to the entire thing. For example, the diversity of the trainers and mentors that you can have on virtual platforms, it's far different from what you can have in the physical face-to-face format of the same. تو میرے خیال میں دیٹ از important, لیکن I think it will still take us some time to get used to the virtual learning platforms, کیونکہ it's not the same فیس ٹو فیس جس طرح سے آپ کا انٹریکشن پاسبل ہوتا ہے, the way you can monitor your progress or the way you can listen to somebody is not the same in the virtual platform. But it will take some time to get used to it, but once we do get used to it, I think it is the future. This is how things are going to be. Pandemic or no pandemic, I think virtual platforms are going to be the future of everything that is there that involves learning and education, whether it is incubation centers or university classes or schools even. I think the schools will change forever after this, and that is an exciting time to be living through, and I think there's lots for everybody involved. So yeah, I think virtual incubation centers are going to be a huge success given the kind of much needed dimensions it brings to the program.
So I think that there are both advantages and disadvantages when talking about physical interaction or the virtual interaction. As Mr. Rizwan mentioned earlier, a co-working space, virचुअल इंक्यूबेशन से डेफिनेटली वो जो को वर्किंग स्पेस वाला कल्चर है ना जो हम इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स में एडजस्ट कर रहे होते हैं दैट वुड बी फिनिश सो दैट्स वन ऑफ द एडवांटेजेस एंड डेफिनेटली वन ऑफ द डिसएडवांटेजेस इज दैट वी हैव a huge connectivity issue throughout Pakistan in various areas of Pakistan, interior Punjab and Sindh and other places as well. So yes, this is a disadvantage. And another point that Ms. Amin mentioned that when by having the virtual incubation center, we can invite various speakers, guest speakers, trainers from all around the world. But in the other case, if we are having that physical incubation center, even if we have to invite a speaker, first we have to see what are the feasibility for them, and then providing them the transport, or providing them the cost to cover the transport expenses and stuff like that. So definitely we can achieve a lot more through this virtual incubation center concept. And but yes, again, they would it would take some time to get used to it, and things are getting better. Initially, yes, people did not know how to handle this thing, how to handle this virtual concept, but now things are getting better. And if the pace goes like this, inshallah soon we'll be having some good virtual incubation centers, and we'll be getting some good stuff out of it.
Yeah, thank you so much. So my last question is that any one advice to a startup or any university student जो आप चाहते हैं कि वो अभी से इस पे फोकस कर ले और इस पे अमल कर ले, आप लोगों ने नहीं किया और आप चाहते हैं कि आपके बच्चों को
बिल्कुल हमारे वक्त में तो पता ही नहीं था एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप होती क्या है. एंड आई वाज ग्रेजुएटेड, पता ही नहीं था. हालांकि उस ज़माने में मेरी यूनिवर्सिटी में STI था, सॉफ्टवेयर टेक्नोलॉजी इंक्यूबेटर. आई वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट इन 2004, 2004 में मेरी यूनिवर्सिटी में इंक्यूबेटर था, लेकिन पता ही नहीं था ये करता क्या है. इवन आज भी बच्चों को नहीं पता होगा, लेकिन एट दैट टाइम देयर वाज सच नो अवेयरनेस. लोगों को पाकिस्तान में नहीं पता था कि ये 2004 में होता क्या है. लेकिन अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमारे जो टीचर थे इस वक्त, खैर आज तो VC बने हुए बहावलपुर यूनिवर्सिटी इस्लामिया के, उन्होंने उस ज़माने में इसको 2098 में खोल दिया था इंक्यूबेटर सेंटर. एनीवे, तो मैं डॉक्टर अतर महबूब साहब की बात कर रहा हूँ, जो मेरे टीचर भी थे और अब इस वक्त वाइस चांसलर हैं इस्लामिया यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ बहावलपुर के वाइस चांसलर. बहरहाल, सो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू गिव यू मकराक्स, ये समझ लें जो कुछ हमने सीखा और वो किया, वो उसके अंदर वो ये कि आप लोगों को बेटा जो भी करना है अपने इस बात को देखना है कि कोई भी रिसर्च छोटी से छोटी नहीं होती. ये मैं उर्दू में इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ कि हर बंदा समझ जाए. आपके सामने जो इतना बड़ा जाइंट बैठा है गूगल, ये क्या था? what it was before, ये कुछ नहीं था. ये PhD का थीसिस था, और थीसिस भी क्या था कि पूरी दुनिया में जब आपका सर्च इंजन स्टार्ट हुआ तो वो याहू था. ठीक है, गूगल ने यानी कि लैरी ने अपने प्रोफेसर से जाके बात की कि मैं एक ऐसा सर्च इंजन बनाना चाहता हूँ कि जिसकी लिस्टिंग में जितना उसको सर्च किया जाए वो टॉप पे आ जाए. ये मेरा उसका PhD का थीसिस था. आप जाके चेक कर सकते हैं, जिसको पता है ठीक है, जिसको नहीं पता गो एंड जस्ट चेक कि गूगल कैसे बना. ये थीसिस था, यानी कि एक प्रोजेक्ट था, फाइनल ईयर प्रोजेक्ट गूगल PhD का. और उसके बाद उसने वो निकाला. आज ये दुनिया की एक बहुत बड़ी यानी कि जेंगेटिक कंपनी है, जिसमें कंपनीज ऑफ कंपनीज इसके अंदर इंक्लूड है. क्या था ये? एक छोटा सा प्रोजेक्ट FYP का, ठीक है, जिसपे सिर्फ उसमें ये था कि लिस्टिंग में ऊपर है, स्टैनफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी का. तो कहने का मकसद ये मेरे बच्चों, जो आपने काम करना है, वॉट एवर, इफ़ यू आर अंडर ग्रेजुएट, इफ़ यू आर मास्टर्स, इफ़ यू आर द PhD, वॉट एवर यू आर गोइंग टू डू, जो करना है करो, लेकिन उसको प्रोजेक्ट नहीं प्रोडक्ट की फॉर्म में करो, जैसे आपके सामने गूगल है. द फर्स्ट थिंग. सेकेंड थिंग, डू नॉट अफ्रेड, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ डर का बड़ा सिलसिला है. बचपन से हार गए तो सब खत्म, सारे ताल्लुकात ख़त्म. तो हारने से कभी मत डरो, क्योंकि जब भी हमने आपसे कहा कि ये दिस इज़ नॉट योर फेलियर, दिस इज़ योर लर्निंग. کہ اب یا تو جیتو گے یا سیکھو گے, ہارنا بھول جاؤ. دس از یور لرننگ. ٹھیک. اور اس کے ساتھ ساتھ تیسری اور آخری چیز کہ جس طرح ملک کے حالات ابھی چل رہے ہیں, میں کل بھی WT لے کے آیا, 65 روپیز کی ہو گئی ہے, مطلب 5 روپے ویسے ہی بڑھ گئے. سیریسلی میں جھوٹ نہیں کہہ رہا, یہ کل کی بات ہے. تو چیزیں آپ کا اتنی تیزی سے اوپر جا رہی ہے, مہنگائی اتنی تیزی سے, یو وونٹ امیجن. میں ویسے ہی دیکھ رہا تھا زکوٰۃ کا, آپ کو صرف بتانے کا مقصد یہ ہے کہ تقریباً 6 سال پہلے جو تولہ چل رہا تھا وہ 40,000 سم تھنگ تھا. آج 1 لاکھ روپیز سونے 1 تولہ کراس کر چکا ہے, جو کہ تھوڑا بہت انٹرنیشنل مارکیٹ میں تو بہت زیادہ گرا ہے, تو ہم لوگوں نے صرف 97. تو کہنے کا مقصد یہ ہے کہ آپ کا جو انفلیشن ہے بیٹا, وہ مہنگائی بڑھتی جا رہی ہے, یہ کم نہیں ہوگی. آپ سوچتے ہیں کہ جی فلاں کم کر دے گا, کوئی کم نہیں کرے گا, یہ بڑھتی رہے گی. اور آپ کو اپنا ایک کاروبار اس لیے کھولنے کی ضرورت ہے. When I went to the USA, Ohio State University, I met an entrepreneurship professor, Dr. Ganesh ان کا نام ہے, جو پروفیسر تھے. تو ان کا اپنا بزنس تھا. میں نے ان سے ایک سوال کیا تھا, جو میں آپ کو اس کا جواب اس لیے دے رہا ہوں کہ آپ اس کو سمجھ سکیں. کہ میں نے ان سے یہ پوچھا کہ بھائی آپ کیوں بزنس کرتے ہیں, وہی ان کی والی بات کہ سر کیا بزنس کرتے ہیں. تو میں نے تو یہ پوچھا کرتے کیوں ہیں بھائی گنیش صاحب. تو انہوں نے یہ کہا کہ بھائی ہمارے یہاں there is no guarantee. I'm a full professor in entrepreneurship department, but there is no guarantee tomorrow I come safe. Thank you sir, اللہ حافظ, گھر جائیں, ہار اینڈ فائر. کہہ رہا ہے کہ یہاں کوئی جوکری کی نہیں ہے. اس لیے جتنی آپ فیکلٹی میں جتنے لوگوں سے ملا ہوں, بیکاز آئی ہیو وزٹڈ 30 یونیورسٹیز میں نے وزٹ کیا, لوگوں سے ملا ہوں امریکہ کے ڈفرینٹ اسٹیٹس میں. تو سب نے کہا ہے بھائی ہم سب اپنا ایک اسٹارٹ اپ کرتے ہیں, ہم سب کا اپنا ایک بزنس ہے. ٹھیک ہے, وہ یہی بزنس ہوتا ہے کہ اسٹوڈنٹ کے ساتھ جو FIP چل رہا ہے وہی بزنس بنتا ہے, کیونکہ ان کو پتہ ہے کہ ہماری نوکری. تو یہ پاکستان کے حالات بھی کچھ اللہ نہ کرے ایسے ہوں, لیکن ابھی سے آپ بیٹا کچھ نہ کچھ شروع کریں, کوئی نہ کوئی مسئلے کا حل دیکھیں, کیونکہ اس کی وجہ ہے کہ مسئلے کے حل سے ہی اسٹارٹ اپ نکلتا ہے. یہ میں آپ کو بتا دوں, دنیا میں اوبر بھی چل رہی تھی, مختلف چیزیں چل رہی تھی, یہ بائکیں کیوں آ گیا, یہ آپ کے پاس چلتی ہوئی اپلیکیشن میں پھر کریم کہاں سے آ گیا, وہ اسی لیے آ گئے کہ وہ مسئلوں کا حل ہے. تو مسئلوں کا حل, اور خاص کر کے وہ مسئلے جو میرے اور آپ کے مسئلے ہیں. ٹھیک, اگین آخری بات کروں گا یا ختم کروں گا, گھر سے نکلنے سے جہاں آپ جاتے ہو, جدھر آپ جاتے ہو, جس سے ملنے, جو نظر آئے اس کا حل نکالو. تھینک یو ویری مچ.
Yeah, Ikra, your last advice.
My last and the only advice for the young entrepreneurs is that money management. پیسے کو مینیج کرنا سیکھیں. پیسہ آپ کے پاس آ جائے گا, آپ اپنے پیرنٹس کا پیسہ بھی لگا لیں گے, آپ کو فنڈنگ بھی مل جائے گی, آپ کے پاس خود بھی کچھ سیونگز ہوں گی, آپ وہ لگا لیں گے. بٹ مینیج کرنا سیکھیں. پیسے کی مینجمنٹ از ویری 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 امپورٹنٹ. پیسہ آنا از ناٹ دیٹ امپورٹنٹ جتنا کہ پیسے کو مینیج کرنا از امپورٹنٹ. اینڈ سیکنڈلی, جو بھی آپ کا بزنس ہے, وٹ ایور بزنس یو ہیو, اس کے لیے ایسیٹس اکٹھے کریں, اس کے لیے لائبلٹیز اکٹھی نہ کریں. کیونکہ اگر آپ یہ کام کریں گے, اوپر سے آپ کو منی مینجمنٹ بھی نہیں آتی, تو آپ کا اسٹارٹ اپ سوری ٹو سے کچھ ہی مہینوں میں فلاپ ہو جائے گا. اور سر رضوان بہتر بتا سکتے ہیں, انہوں نے دیکھے ہوں گے کافی اسٹارٹ اپس جن میں بہت پوٹینشیل ہوگا, لیکن ایٹ دی اینڈ آف دا ڈے وہ اسٹارٹ اپس فیل ہو گئے. بہت سارے اسٹارٹ اپس ہیں, انفیکٹ ہم انکیوبیشن سینٹرز میں دیکھ لیں, آئی گیس اونلی 20% آف دا اسٹارٹ اپس جو کہ اگلے 2-3 سال بھی چل جاتے ہیں. ادروائز باقی انکیوبیشن سینٹر سے نکلتے ہی جو ہے نا وہ ختم, خلاص. تو منی مینجمنٹ از ویری 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 امپورٹنٹ, اور ہماری انکیوبیشن سینٹرز کو بھی چاہیے کہ اسپیسیفکلی اس چیز کے اوپر بھی ٹریننگ دی جائے. ہم یہ تو ٹریننگ دے دیتے ہیں اسٹوڈنٹس کو, اسٹارٹ اپس کو, کہ جی آپ نے کس طرح سے پچ کرنا ہے آئیڈیا, آپ نے کس طرح سے فنڈنگ لینی ہے, یا آپ نے کیا کرنا. آپ یہ نہیں ان کو سکھاتے کہ فنڈنگ لینے کے بعد آپ نے اس کو مینیج کس طرح سے کرنا ہے. فنڈنگ تو آپ نے لے لی, اب کیا کرنا ہے اس فنڈنگ کا, کدھر لگانا ہے. سو دس از ویری ویری امپورٹنٹ. اور اگین وہی والی بات ہے کہ اسٹارٹ اپس اپنے لیے لائبلٹیز اکٹھی کر لیتے ہیں اسی فنڈنگ سے, جبکہ وہ ایسیٹس بنانا بھول جاتے ہیں اپنے اسٹارٹ اپ کے لیے. سو دیٹس اٹ. تھینک یو سو مچ.
Thank you. Dr. Asim Saib.
اوکے جی, اقرا نے ایک بات جہاں پہ چھوڑی ہے میں وہاں سے کنٹینیو کروں گا. پروبیبلی شی از ٹاکنگ اباؤٹ سسٹینیبلٹی, کہ اگر آپ نے گرانٹس تو لے لیے, منی مینجمنٹ, تو اب آپ نے ایک اپنے بزنس کو سسٹینیبل کیسے بنانا ہے, آپ نے پکا کام کیسے کرنا ہے. شارٹ ٹرم والا اپروچ نہیں, لانگ ٹرم والا اپروچ. اور وہ بھی فار ایگزامپل انڈسٹری کے اندر یوزلی جب ہم جاتے ہیں ایز اے مینٹور اور ٹریننگ دیتے ہیں, تو میرا اپنا ایکسپیرینس یہ ہے دیٹ ان موسٹ آف دا کیسز the people are behind a big chunk of business, like they are behind those customer who are having a potential of millions rupees, but I usually strongly recommend them that don't go for big chunk of business. Instead, start looking for the peanuts. You see that if, and this is actually sustainability, that if you are having a pool of 1,000 customer, and out of which there are 10 people, or there are only 20 people who are actually giving you 80% of your business. So what will happen if وہ حج پہ چلے جاتے ہیں, وہ خدا نخواستہ اس دنیا سے چلے جاتے ہیں, یا وہ سوئچ ہو جاتے ہیں, تو what will happen to your sustainability model? آپ کا تو 80% جو ہے بزنس ہی گر گیا. سو یس, ان کے لیے جو ایک سسٹینیبل اپروچ اسٹرانگلی ریکمینڈ کیا جاتا ہے. اینڈ دا سیکنڈ موسٹ امپورٹنٹ تھنگ آئی یوزلی ریکمینڈ, اینڈ دیٹ از ایکچولی start by doing the necessary, then difficult, and suddenly you will be doing impossibles. ٹھیک ہے نا. ہمارے ہاں ایک تھوڑا سا ایک امپاسبل والا چکر جو ہے نا, یہ الٹا وہ ڈے فرسٹ سے اسٹارٹ ہو جاتا ہے نا. جس طرح رضوان نے بتایا تھا کہ ہمیں سوشل سرکل میں اپنے چھوٹے چھوٹے پرابلم کو فوکس کر کے آگے بڑھنا چاہیے, بجائے یہ کہ ہم ابھی سے بتا دیں کہ چاند پہ پہنچنا ہے. اب وہ this is one of the major reason why 80% of the entrepreneurial setups fails. وجہ اس کی یہی ہے کہ ہمارے آبجیکٹو اسمارٹ نہیں ہوتے, ہم اس میں ریشنلٹی نہیں ہوتی, اس میں لاجک نہیں ہوتا. تو اگر ہم اسٹوڈنٹ کو یہ سکھا دیں اور اس پہ فوکس کریں کہ فرسٹ از لرننگ اینڈ دین از ارننگ, رادر دین کہ وہ ارننگ پہلے آ گیا اور کہ یار لرننگ ہو جائے گی نا. سو بیکاز نالج از پاور. تو آپ کو جو ہے وہ سسٹینیبل ہونا چاہیے, آپ کا لانگ ٹرم کا ہونا چاہیے, آپ کی کیلکولیٹڈ موومنٹس ہونی چاہیے, اور آپ کی لرننگ پریورٹی ہونی چاہیے. لرننگ ہوگی تو ارننگ سٹارٹ ہوگی. ارننگ پہ فوکس کرو گے, بلیو می, وہ کبھی بھی آپ اچیو نہیں. ارننگ از اے بائی پروڈکٹ ایکچولی. سو یو شوڈ فوکس. جو میری وہ جو پریویس جو کامنٹ تھا نا, that as far as the subjectivity is concerned, ٹھیک ہے نا, and objectivity, تو یہاں پہ ہمارا objectivity ہونے چاہیے in terms of facilitating the society. اپنے چھوٹے چھوٹے پرابلمس کا سولوشن ہم خود ہی نکال لیں. دیکھیں میں سمپل ایگزامپل کیا دیتا ہوں. موسٹ آف دا کیس میونسپل کمیٹی کا نل کا ہے پانی کا, اور وہ 24 گھنٹے جی وہ اس کا وہ کیا کہ اسپینڈلی خراب ہوتا ہے, ٹھیک ہے نا. تو وہ پانی آتا ہے, پانی جاتا ہے, تو وہ کب پتہ چلتا ہے, وہ نل کیسے پتہ چلتا ہے. اب میں اسٹوڈنٹ کو یہی بتاتا ہوں that if you only start focusing on such sort of a problem, کہ کون سی ایسی کریٹو اپروچ ہونا چاہیے کہ جب پانی آئے تو آٹومیٹکلی کھلے, اور جب پانی جائے تو آٹومیٹکلی بند ہو جائے. اب رضوان ہیز بین فرام the developed countries, وہاں پہ یہ چھوٹے چھوٹے پرابلمز ہونے. the moment you will step inside in the room through sensors, lights on ہو جائیں گے. the moment you are exiting, light off ہو جائیں گے. اچھا, ہمارے انرجی کرائسس ہے یہاں پہ. اب انرجی کرائسس کے لیے آپ نے ایٹیٹیوڈ بلڈ کرنا ہے, ان کی براٹ اپ کرنی ہے, اپنے اویئرنیس کیمپین چلانا ہے. but unfortunately there is no entrepreneurial approach to the solution of this problem. ٹھیک ہے نا. دیر از نو ٹیکنوٹرونک اپروچ. سوری, بیچ میں تھوڑا سا وہ ڈسکنیکٹ ہو گیا تھا. ایک میں آخری بات بتانا چاہوں گا کہ تھینکس ٹو ڈیجیٹلائزیشن, جو اس وقت ہم ایک کلب ہاؤس بنا کے ہوئے ایک دوسرے کے ساتھ انٹریکٹ کر رہے ہیں, آج سے 5 سال پہلے اس طرح کے سیشن کو, 10 سال پہلے اس طرح کے ایونٹ کو پلان کرنا, آرگنائز کرنا, اس کے لیے ایک الگ قسم کی اسپیشلائزیشن درکار ہوتی تھی. سو digitalization is the only option and there is no other option. تو چاہے آپ نے انکیوبیشن سینٹرز چلانے ہیں, چاہے آپ نے پوری دنیا کو ٹارگٹ کرنا ہے, چاہے آپ نے جو بھی کرنا ہے, تو آپ کے پاس ٹیکنالوجی, دا ٹیکنوٹرونک, دا ڈیجیٹلائزیشن, دس از دا اونلی آپشن جس پہ ہم اسٹرانگ ریلائی کرتے ہوئے, اپنے اس کو کافی حد تک ہم ایکسپیڈائٹ کرتے ہوئے, اپنے ٹائم کو پروڈکٹیو بناتے ہوئے. یوتھ سے میں ہمیشہ یہی بتاتا ہوں کہ دیکھیں, آپ کے پاس 24 گھنٹے ہیں, یہی موبائل ہے, اس موبائل پہ آپ کے 24 گھنٹے ان پروڈکٹیو ہوتے ہیں. لیکن اگر آپ اس کے اوپر ڈیجیٹل مارکیٹنگ کرو, اس کے اوپر آپ سوشل میڈیا مارکیٹنگ کرو, سوشل میڈیا مینجمنٹ کرو, موبائل ایپ کرو, تو آپ اندازہ لگا لیں کہ آپ اپنے ٹائم کو کتنا پروڈکٹیو بنا سکتے ہیں. سو دس از مائی recommendation, strongly recommend, and I will request them all کہ سیلف اسسمنٹ کے لیے آپ نے اپنی ہی انوائرمنٹل ڈائنامکس کو انٹیگریٹ کرتے ہوئے اپنے میجر آبجیکٹیو کو اچیو کرنا ہے.
تھینک یو سو مچ. जी मैम।
True. बस इनसे मुझे एक बात याद दिला दी. When I was in sir, in 2005 in my university at that time, that's true. लाइटें बंद हो जाती थी, lights turn it off, and I said tuk, it's open because they just need to save the energy. ये मैं 2005 यानी कि आप लगा लें कि ये तकरीबन ऑलमोस्ट 20 साल हो चुके हैं इस बात को, सॉरी 15 साल हो चुके हैं इस बात को, इतनी पुरानी बात कि ये चीज़ वहाँ चल रही थी. So when you said, तो मैं थोड़ी देर के अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी चला गया और यूं करके आवाज़ें निकालना मीन्स कि हम हैं तो लाइट खुल जाती थी, कोई नहीं हो तो इसका मतलब लाइट ऑफ. यू आर राइट, एग्रीड.
मैं
थैंक यू.
आपसे मैं उम्र में थोड़ा बड़ा हूँ, तो इस विषय में जरा एक्सपीरियंस पहले का एक्सपीरियंस शेयर कर लिया ना.
So yes, the only advice that I would like to give to everybody, anybody who is listening, and all the students who might be interested in entrepreneurship, is learning how to persevere. Perseverance is sabat kadmi. Perseverance is your ability to stand in front of all the difficult odds and still continue to hold your ground and continue to do what you think is right. So the difference between a successful business and an unsuccessful business is the one that decides to persevere in the face of difficult times, and to know how to learn from your failures. Because failures, they don't just happen because you have done something wrong. They sometimes happen to teach you something. They could be teachable moments, the failures that you might encounter on your way to success. And once you've decided that you're going to take advantage of all the failures that you've faced and learn something from it and incorporate it into your way to success, then I think there's nothing stopping you. So perseverance and your ability to learn from your failure, that is the difference between a successful and an unsuccessful individual. Whether it comes to being successful generally in your life or having a successful business, I think perseverance is something that is the most underrated attribute of an entrepreneur, and I think it is something that we can learn, and it is something that we can train ourselves into. So that's what I believe is something that I've learned over the years. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much speakers for your precious time. It was really nice learning new things from you. सो अगर आप कमेंट्स में अपने लिंक्डइन बाद में आप भी कर सकते हैं, अपने लिंक्डइन के प्रोफाइल अगर पब्लिश कर दें, क्योंकि कुछ लोग पूछ रहे हैं कि वी वांट टू कनेक्ट विद द स्पीकर, सो दे कैन कॉन्टेक्ट यू थ्रू लिंक्डइन. थैंक यू सो मच अगेन. थैंक यू. हैव अ ग्रेट डे.
Okay ji, thank you very much. Nice meeting you all.
Allah
Allah
bless
Hafiz.
you.
Thank
Allah
you.
Hafiz.
Thank you.